everybody, paddling enthusiasts, and everyone who's tuned in. We are excited to continue SUP Connect Lives on Thursday. We were doing interviews of brands in November and December. We didn't get through everybody, and there's some great companies out there. So about once a month, we're going to try to make sure and focus on a board brand and the person behind it and all that goes with that. So today is a brand I'm not sure everybody knows, because I know we have some specialists out there, but they're really big in the whole big world of recreational paddling, and that is Pop Board Company. We're going to be talking with the CEO, Nick Lanfranco, who I am very excited to catch up with because he lives in my area, but I haven't seen him in ages. I believe we met at a conference. SUP Industry Association has an annual conference, and we appreciated that he and his partner in business met us there and attended that probably 3-4 years ago. Not sure when I met Nick, but great to have all of you with us. Again, thanks to SUP Connect for hosting these. I'm Kristen Thomas of KT Outside, and we're going to talk with Nick Lanfranco. I'm going to check and see. I can't remember, Nick, if we were going to go. I don't see Pop, but I see your individual account. So I am going to try inviting you as Nick. There you are. Pop Board Company is what we're going to mainly be talking about, but it's always great to catch up, and the great people that I've had a chance to interview.
Hey, Chris.
You want to know about them too. Hey, it's been a while.
I know it has been. How you doing over there?
Very good. I was trying to remember. I think we met at an industry association conference, but it could have been an event too.
Yeah, it was. I think a couple of them. Yeah, we've always kind of crossed paths, and I always had my eye on what you were doing and what's going on. And I was that little guy always asking too many questions. But yeah,
Never.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're having a little, I'm going to make sure and pause and not interrupt you because there's a little pause in between. But start with you, because you had a big year. I looked at your account and I didn't realize all you had going on in your life. So catch us up first on you.
Yeah, I guess on a personal note, got married, had a baby, still enjoying running the brand. So things have been just a blessing. You know, I know for a lot of people, 2020 or 2021 had some obstacles, but it's been nothing but a blessing for us over here.
Well, thrilled to hear that. And it's good to have good news, because it has been tough for some people. And our hearts go out to all of you who've had, struggles with, whether it's with jobs or with, the COVID-19. But great to hear that you got married and had a darling little baby boy. I saw pictures.
Yeah. Little Zaya, the future team rider, future CEO. Yeah. So we're grooming him, throwing him in the water. He's, I think, now 8 months, 7-8 months. So yeah, we've been enjoying that. It's been great. Yeah.
I love that. Well, congratulations to you and your wife. And was it kind of from the business side that you got into Pop Boards? You're the CEO. Was it water that drew you in first? Were you, a water person or?
Yeah, 100% waterman. Loved it. Spending every free minute I can on it, whether I'm fishing, surfing, paddleboarding came into the scene for me. So we were doing that on the smaller days. And yeah, that natural passion for the water turned into a project, which then turned into a company, into a brand. And it was all a happy accident. And 3 boards that I designed with some local shapers ended up turning into Pop Board Co. to what it is now. So we've had a great time, and it's always been just upward ever since we started the idea. And I was the guy, like my typical story is suit and tie. I was an ad executive. I had a VP position for an ad agency, and was just getting kind of tired of it. I was just getting bored with the everyday selling advertisements and talking to other people. So when I had the idea of bringing this brand to light, it all kind of came and took shape on a trip to Catalina Island with my family. We were all out there. We're actually on some deny boards. Don Denai loaned us. And right then and there, I kind of had the aha moment. Everybody in my family was standing on a paddleboard. Everybody was grinning ear to ear, and everybody was able to do it. And some of the people weren't the most healthiest or most fittest people in the bunch. So right there, I saw that if I can put, a smile on my friends, put a smile on my dad in that same moment, stand on the paddleboard, then they'll get an idea of like what I feel like when I go surfing or I'm out in the ocean. So there it is. The quest kind of launched at that moment. I was like, I'm going to put together a brand. I'm going to bottle this little sport up and just make it accessible to everyone I know.
Yeah.
And here we are. I think that was 2000. about 2012, and had no clue about the industry, had never had a retail background or ran a brand house, didn't come from the industry. And I think that's what worked for us, is that we were completely on the outside coming in. And we just kind of learned as we went and figured it all out really quickly. And it's always been great ever since we launched that. And within about 6-7 months, I was able to take that tie off and say, hey, bye-bye ad agency. I've got something on my own. And yeah, I'm just so blessed and so lucky to kind
Yeah.
of.
Well, I think it's great. You can see that you have a marketing business background, I think, because I think you do a really good job with that. And the appeal of the boards is just remarkable. I mean, I love looking at pictures of them. The one that we used in our little,
Yeah.
advertising for this, that's just an epic board. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's the Royal Hawaiian, the 10-6 Royal Hawaiian, one of our inflatable boards, and that's just been the fan favorite. It kind of, it was a really fun project. We've designed it in several colors and narrowed it down to the last two, and did that the last couple of years, and it's been a great hit. And so we're looking to kind of play out a little bit more on the friendly and family side of things. We want to completely be the brand that represents Laugh and Splash, something that's easy and fun and relatable. And that board just kind of really crystallized our image with that. Yeah.
I love that, the laugh and splash. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the industry, but first a little more about Pop. So
Yeah.
about 2012, you got going. Were you up in LA? You were somewhere in Southern
No, no,
California, right?
no, I'm in Orange County. Yeah, I'm in Laguna Niguel, still there. Our warehouse now is in Santa Ana, Costa Mesa region, actually Santa Ana. We've had a couple little moves. But yeah, I was born and raised here in Southern California. And yeah, and that's where we're located, where we reside at. And now we just kind of keep inching. We think we get the biggest warehouse we need, and then we find out we need bigger. And then we keep getting a bigger warehouse, and now we need bigger. And so it's been a fun ride in the growing aspect of our brand. But yeah, we're right here in SoCal.
So let's talk about your business. I'm sure followed a very interesting trend last year, and just the industry in general. What happened during COVID?
Well, COVID pushed everyone to the outdoors, and I think all the brand houses know that. It forced everyone to really take, I would say, a mental inventory of what the purpose of life really was.
Mm.
It borrowed a lot of the dollars that went to travel or went to recreation, and it kind of just pushed it into the outdoors. And so like bike shops and paddleboard shops, there were lines in front of them. In that first 2 weeks of COVID, everyone was wondering what. But then by week 3, I drove by the bike shop and there was a line out front. And so I was like, well, maybe we should also force an opening and make ourselves available to our customer and our clientele. And by week 4, some of the surf shops and retailers that we were working with opened back up. And then it was just bananas from there on out. The demand was at an all-time high, to a point where we all would love this industry to be. It was kind of like our dream moment. This is our time now. We've always worked really hard through the trials and tribulations within this industry. And this was the moment that our brand received the light it deserved. And so, yeah, we've had a growing year, but this one really took a huge spike. And I do feel that this spike, although it's a spike, it does kind of follow a little bit of a trend. And naturally, by putting this many people out in the water, we'll cultivate and create a lot more opportunity for the industry. The brother got the board, now the sister will get the board. Dad is riding a lot, now mom wants one. Friend has one, now the best friend needs to get one. So this is going to really spread some light for the next couple of years and give some really good runway to the paddleboard industry. So I don't think as we get vaccines and everything kind of goes back to the normal that we think life will go back to, that this new normal won't be normal. I think it's going to stick, and it's going to be here to last. Yeah.
I agree. And you talked about passion right from the beginning, about what got you into it, being a waterman. I do think, well, there's scientific proof that water is an attraction and it is a healthy thing. And I do think these people who, it wasn't just a fad during COVID, they're going to get hooked on stand-up paddleboarding and the other outdoor activities and really see a growth. We had that when you started, then up through what it was about 2017, we were continuing on kind of that exponential growth, which we knew at some point was going to have a plateau. So
Right.
2017 through 19, a little bit trickier. Again, there were things that changed and there were some naysayers, but I didn't see it go away, but it certainly wasn't having that growth. But here we go again. Boy, the first week I worked with a lot of retailers at the industry association. They were freaking out. I mean, people were thinking, we're not going to pay our rent. We're going to shut down. What's going to happen? So it is so crazy that it turned around. A challenging year for you guys in business, even though it was good because you weren't planning for the spike. You didn't necessarily have the inventory. Stores were running out of inventory. Um, the challenges of where you lived and how you accessed water and whether you could access water, and helping your customer if your store was closed. Was it one
Right.
at a time? Was it out the back door? Was it mail order? So definitely you guys had some challenges. So I'm sure you're looking forward to this being over, even though there was growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that we want to restore kind of the good old days. But I do think that this is the new stage, and there's a huge light on our industry with that stage, and to kind of keep building on that, let that stage be a new platform, and let that be the new catalyst for us to launch from there. And I think a lot of brand houses will see it that way as well. Yeah, we were getting we were really having to disrupt and agitate our normal way of doing business with the retailers, but we've always did it in a way to support them. So as
Mm.
we note of like, okay, these guys came from Dana Point, maybe we can kind of give some of that love to Killer Dana, or hey, these guys were from Seal Beach and Long Beach, let's make sure we give a little stock credit to Harbor Surf. And so we've always been really big into kind of like taking note of like where these sales and where the growth is coming from during COVID, and then make sure to like pay it back, so that when those doors do open, we knew they were going to open double the size. And it's exactly what they did. I mean, Killer Dana, they're a retailer here in Southern California. They doubled down and opened up a bigger location down the street from their original location. So we, right in that first 2 weeks, we had that thought of like, hey, do we stop production right now because we don't have visibility on what's going to happen, or do we on the flip end crank up the dial? And we did that. We just cranked the dial. And we're like, hey, regardless of what
Smart.
happens, we're in this. So we doubled down, and it paid off. And I think we were one of the only brands that really had a really nice, healthy stock of supply and was able to just hit a lot of stores and keep up with their demand. And then yeah, we had a couple of moments. We had our obstacles a couple of weeks here and there where we were waiting for some stuff to hit us. But for the most part, we were able to fulfill all of our accounts.
And that's fantastic. I have that on my list because I remember talking to you guys about you really support retailers, and I appreciate, and the shout outs you just gave to great stores.
Yeah,
And we need that. Small specialty retail is so important because of passion and community and wanting to be attached, and that these people will want to come back and buy more things. So they need to have their local shop. So we really want to support that. And it's tough right now. So I think it's great that you guys have good relationships with stores, and congratulations on making that positive decision a few weeks in, because you're right. I think a lot of people were nervous, understandably, and pulled back and didn't see that down the road. So what are you seeing in the future? You said some good positive things about it. You see continued growth, like you said, the
yeah,
sister of the brother.
yeah. I think that's talking about there's going to be an excess supply, and it's kind of funny, even through some of the lulls that we've experienced within the last, as an industry lull, we never felt it at Pop. You know, we would talk to other brands, and they're, have their hands in their head at certain talking, and it's just, wishing there was more out there. And we just kind of stayed quiet and was like, okay, it's treating us really, really well. And my projection is, even though there's going to be a lot of inventory, that's great. That's exactly what the industry needs, is more inventory. And, there's about 150 to 100 people within this industry that are going to do it really, really well. And we want to be a part of that. And by putting this type of inventory out there, and by putting this type of supply out there to the industry, we now are an opportunity to kind of grow the sport. And before it's an industry, let's remember it's a sport for most people. There's a handful of guys like me that are at the industry level. There's hundreds of thousands of people at the sport level. And as long
Mm-hmm.
as we keep the focus on that, I don't think we'll have an issue. And I think we're going
Yeah.
to see, yeah, there's going to be people that come and go. That's normal. But for the gorilla hands in the industry, they're going to stick around.
Yeah. Very interesting point. I always try to separate, it's not as easy as sport, but to call it a recreational activity. And
Yeah,
you talked about the smiles and the fun and the splash, and the over 90% of the people who stand up paddleboard are doing it for fun.
totally.
And it's the family, and it's, you've got an island up in the Midwest or Canada. I mean, it's really, really interesting to have this versatile tool. I think the most versatile water, vehicle there is, vessel, that anybody can get on. You already mentioned that, like, hook, your aha moment was seeing that your whole family at Catalina could all do it. So we have something really special, but it is really interesting how it crosses over. And some of us who get into I surf and I race and I've done some whitewaters, like, but those are all the niche things, and
Yeah,
it's really fun. And we have a bunch of new ones, but the good all around boards, both hardboards and inflatables, and you make those.
Yeah.
That's what the population is looking for. That's what these first people are, are using and getting into. Let's back up and talk about pop and like your progress. Did you start with just hardboards? Because you look
Yeah.
like you're really getting into the ISEP thing has finally kind of hit. It took a long time, especially, you and I are coastal,
Yeah.
to get that mindset that you don't have to be on a hardboard.
100%. I think, Kristen, I think there was an interview. I could probably dig it up where like I was like booing the ice up movement, and I was just getting into the industry. I had so much passion behind the rigid boards. I mean, it took me like 12 different shapes to launch the 10-6 Classico, which has been like the model way of our brand in the world of a fiberglass construction board.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so proud of like getting there and growing the brand on the rigid side of things, and then this inflatable movement comes in, and in the first round of them, they're very questionable, but yeah, we ended up trying it out. I'm a big boater myself, so we were destroying our rigid boards on our boat, and everyone was wrecking boards, and we'd be up and down our docks, and you just see these giant fiberglass boards that are almost the size of a boat on top of someone's boat. So I was like, well, maybe there's a place for this, and yeah, we started tooling with our own inflatable project, and thank God we did. We pivoted really quickly and just seen nothing but huge growth with inflatable. At one point, we were 100% rigid board brand, and
Mm-hmm.
inflatables are 65-70% of our portfolio. Uh,
Wow.
and rigid boards are holding maybe 20%. And yes, we make surfboards and other products as well.
Mm-hmm.
It really worked out for pop because I was so intimidated in my earlier years when it's just me, myself, and I at the industry level. I couldn't go on a local paddle or a surf session without seeing my competitors' stickers on my parking spot. And then after my surf session, I couldn't have a burrito without seeing their sticker on the table I was eating at. And and
Well,
then they disappeared. So it's just like, okay, what happened here? And I really took some time to like really dissect the industry and what went wrong with these brands that I idolized. And
what do you think?
my thinking was, I think they were too core. They were just really like at that sport level and not at that
Mm-hmm.
level, and they weren't able to pivot to the movement of inflatable, to be honest. And
Mm-hmm.
that we were doing the inflatables and just looking at the reports, it was a great move for our brand. It was very questionable. It was difficult personally to take on this project, but now I'm so glad we did it. I love our boards. Lots of people do. They don't get damaged on the boat anymore. They fit in the little hatch of a boat. There's a great purpose for inflatables, and it really did a great job of injecting the sport into a lot more other people. Now that you can have a high rise and have a board,
Mm-hmm.
that was really neat. Or we constantly get the college. Now my kids are going away for college, and we got them an inflatable board, and so it's like they have a bed in the dorm, and they have their homework and books on one side of the bed, and their inflatable on the other side. So it's like that's kind of neat. So yeah, we were excited about that movement, and it's done really well for the industry, and it's getting better. It's definitely getting
Yeah.
better.
Well, you've already given me two instances of you being really creative and on point, pivoting, as you said, and
Yeah,
that it is about that, and it is hard to change your mindset. And I have to agree with you. Just being really stuck sometimes is a
yeah,
problem with companies that we had a lot of passion and not always a lot of business acumen. You say you don't, but you from a marketing background, so you were in the world of business, and sometimes that was a big frustration working with the industry. Great people, but like we were trying to get marketing data, and they're like, "Well, we're not going to share." And my husband, who's in an older industry, said, "Your industry's so immature. Like you really have to work together with your competitors. That's how it works to grow the whole thing."
oh yeah, I'm really good friends with the competition. I mean, here in Southern California, we were able to throw a ball to my competition back and forth, and yeah, everyone's really friendly. That's the neat thing. Now that I'm at that industry level and able to rub elbows with everyone, everyone's willing to help. From Surf Tech and Bark Boards, the guys at Infinity, like they're actually, we use the word competition, but when I really look at it, whenever we're opening a door or working with a retailer, it never really is. So there's room out there for everybody to do really well and specialize in what they do. Again, I think Infinity has done a great job with their race division, and they're a heritage brand. So we always want to tip our hat off to those heritage brands, and then we are a great fit for that. Again, that laugh and splash, that recreation. what I think the industry likes to say, that bottom area of the triangle. And so that's been really important to us. I mean, at one point, we always wanted to keep our ear to what the competition was doing, but the second we kept our ear to what the customer wanted, that's when we started making really good progress. That was really important, is to kind of hear from the customer, and just at one point just put the blinders on the competition level. They always say you're either first to market or best to market, but I think there's this third element of like creating the most value to the market, and that's kind of
love that.
how we want to be at Pop.
That's awesome. I had to write that one down. I haven't heard that before, but that's very true. Hey, I have to ask this, and I'm sure I'm not the first, but the name Pop, and you are now majority inflatable boards. Has anybody joked with you about that one, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's probably happened about 5 times, and I thought, now 6. Thanks, Kristen. But
sorry,
yeah, I thought I was going to get it 100 times. So again, starting off on a rigid platform, Pop represented for pop up and paddle. We were always paddle surfing, and after you get your knees blown out at Sano, you jump on your board, paddle in hand, and just kind of pop back up. And then when we were all paddleboarding that day at Catalina, I was like yelling to my dad, just like, pop up and paddle. And there it is, where Pop Paddleboard was like our twist on saying stand up and paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Several years into it, we turned into an inflatable. So the trick behind that is I knew that moment was going to happen, the inflatables. So I was like, what am I going to do here? And so we named our first model inflatable the Pop Up. And I was like, I think that would be a great vanity to kind of show that it, pop up versus of inflatable.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was kind of the what's taking place now. And
no, I think it's great. And I love the name. And actually to me, it brought to mind, I didn't realize it was for pop up. I just pop. I mean, the colors pop, and a lot pops about your, I just think it's a great name. So I didn't mean to tease you, but.
Yeah, not at all. No. Yeah, and I'm so shocked that I don't get it more. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I've been blessed. Yeah.
Well, good ISEPs don't pop. They shouldn't. When I hear about them, I'm like, ooh, did you order that online directly from China?
Yeah.
If you have a reasonable board, the technology now, that it shouldn't be.
Yeah, they're amazing. They are right. They just do not pop. We have practically an ironclad warranty with our customers in our shops, and it's just like, it's so rare. So yeah, it's really neat.
And so true about, I just think a lot of us who are coastal, are just so used to the hardboard mentality. But just the first time I went to a river and they said, oh, there's rocks everywhere. We walk into rocks. And they also couldn't believe we went in barefoot, because they always have to wear booties. They said there's broken glass on the boat ramp. There's rocks on the edge. Like, you'd get your feet all chopped up. Like, just, there's really different, again, because it is this versatile craft, and it's used by all these people that come from different backgrounds, like surf and kayak. And we're bringing new people to the water in droves who haven't been water people, which is fantastic. I think we help grow just that passion for all water in so many ways, which is great.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty neat, because before I was like a big fan of paddleboarding, I had to kind of calibrate my mind a little bit. I was really passionate about the water. That's just premise, and like it became to a point, anytime I can get on it, and this was just like true vessel to do that sport, whether it's fishing on it or snorkeling on it. And that's where our tagline, made for making, really came in. The real, I think, brand ethos behind Pop is the fact that we wanted to manufacture some of the moments that I experienced on the paddleboard, where I think your brain sometimes, it takes a Polaroid of what just took place. And I come from a surfing background, and I remember being in Hawaii, dropping in waves, ending up the session, swimming with sea turtles, doing this whole thing on a paddleboard. It's like burned in my brain. I share the story all the time. I'll tell my kid it. I'm sure hope my kid will tell their kids. And that Polaroid moment we want to create for others. So like, we want to be that brand that exists to manufacture those moments that I'm experiencing for them to experience, whether it's catching a wave or playing around with the sea life or going down a river. Like, your mind will take a Polaroid of the landscape, and you'll bank it. And we want to be a part of that kind of Polaroid for that person.
And it's very addictive. We just want more of those Polaroids.
Oh, it's
so had a dolphin at Sano this morning. It's another Polaroid. Never, ever will get tired of that.
Yeah, I saw you. It looked like you got some waves at Sano, right? Dog patch? Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Good.
Yep. Yep. Great morning.
Yeah.
So more kind of on the industry. So, it was a challenging but successful year. Other challenges you see for the industry going forward?
Challenges. Industry is going to be the real boring stuff of what's going to happen to our dollar with the overseas relationships we have. I think that's going to put a little bit of an obstacle for certain brands out there. Um, Other challenges we see, I mean, like anything, it's you really want to look at the unwinnable situations in this industry. And I really feel right now it's kind of like, how do club stores work with the core shops? Because my
Mm-hmm.
position in the industry is really big into retail. We just launched a new website and we still don't sell online. So we're always looking at the retail level and talking to these shops, and these shops that we idolize, we understand that they're small businesses. And so how does the club store and the giant online.com movement really play a part into what some of these really core brands and core shops are doing? Because that landscape is changing very quickly. So those are challenges that I see probably more with my portfolio of the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other little obstacles would be, hopefully we can just get back to health on a national level. Get back to,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think when that takes place, there's just a lot more upward trajectory for everybody.
Yeah. Are there solutions shipping I hear about a lot, both um, external single board shipping, getting your boards from wherever they're manufactured? Are there things looking up in that department, or is that still a big challenge?
It was a huge challenge years ago, but Joe, my partner, he is a ninja when it comes out to logistics. He is incredibly talented. He's brought our rigid board supply down to less than 1% damage. So I don't know how he does it. I kind of let him do his thing over there, and he's great at it.
Thanks, Joe.
We at one point saw it really, really high. I think somewhere in the 12 to 13% ratio at one point with rigid boards, and now it's one. I know they're putting some costs, but I think those costs were coming. Things were too cheap, and these, when it's sometimes too good, it's not going to last. So it's important to prepare for that. But for us, the shipping has treated us really well. These last couple of years, it just, we got to a better spot with it. So yeah, thanks, Joe. He's out on his way to Florida today, but he's done a rock star job with that.
Oh, that's great. Great to hear. Um, you regions, like where do you usually sell to? Have you seen some new places, or where are you?
Yeah,
Where's your market?
we're like in all the odd corners that you would just never even think. So part of the mission here was to bottle this California surf culture, make it accessible to everyone. We started inward and went out. So what's really big for us are that interior of US, that I won't say brands neglected, but that just you don't really kind of think that there would be a huge paddle market. But the Utahs and the Colorados are enormous for us. One of our largest markets is the Pacific Northwest. So like going up in Seattle, Oregon, we do really, really well.
Hmm.
Taking California out of the equation, I'm probably our number one market. Florida, both sides of it, Atlantic and Gulf, do really, really well. Uh, and then from there, I would say the interior of the U.S. and then moving into the Pacific Northwest. Canada has been amazing. It's treated us so well throughout the last several years. Every year, it's doubled in size for us. And so we actually have a really, really large year going on in Canada. So that's really exciting. And it's a really neat market. It's just one of those things that when their spring and when their summer comes to play, everyone's just outdoors. It's just
Hmm.
everyone's outdoors. So we've done a really good job of working some really neat partners out there and retailers and supplying that marketplace. For the longest time, they were like, we need brands up here. And we're like, well, we'll do it. So
We'll
we're
do it.
do it.
So
So
pretty much North America. Have you thought
North
about
America,
expanding? Yeah.
yeah. We also launched a deal in Japan this last year, which COVID took some hindrance to that. It's getting back on its feet, and then Australia as well. But they're at very, very infant stage of our brand, so we just hope to maybe have this conversation a year from now and have more juice in that tank. But yeah, they're newer markets for us, and due to COVID, they've had a little bit more challenges than what we experienced here in the U.S. So it's one of those things that had to be put on pause. But yeah, it's kind of ramping back up for the 2021 year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a Love Canada stick little message there.
right on. Thank you.
Yeah. Somebody asked about water. Do you really love all water or only some water? I lost the name there. I was wondering if it was a friend of yours.
Um, well, I love all water. I'm one of those. Yeah, I gravitate to the water. Even recently, it's cold. There's snow in the mountains. We were by a stream, and everyone's getting ready to sit down and open up their coffee. And I took off my clothes behind a rock and jumped in the water. So I think I love all water. But yeah, I'm a little. I can get spoiled. There's no doubt that going on a nice surf island trip is where I tend to kind of spend my extra time. Love Southern California, but yeah, we've been
Mm,
playing lakes and heading up and going up and down Kern River on some of our paddle boards. We kind of do that a couple times a year. So
fun.
we're the complete goofballs up there, have no clue what we're doing, but we're just charging these rapids with our boards and just having a great time. But yeah, I think all water, it's safe to say that I like. Yeah.
Fun. You mentioned kind of your breakdown is like about 65% inflatable now, which went
Yeah.
from 100% rigid, and 20% rigid boards. And you do make some surfboards or any other specialty boards? Is that just custom only, or do you do that production?
No, we do production runs of that. We've all been surfers in the background. Everyone here at the Pop Camp is from Laguna Beach. We're all really tight family here, literally, and we all have that surfing background. So we've always been surfers, and then moved into paddleboarding as our recreation, and then always kept surfing in the core. And we brought the line in last year. We developed our whole like production line of surfboards, like we would do normally with our paddle boards. And we sampled it out with a few shops, and it took off really well. And I think last year's maybe 5% of sales. This year it's now touching 10, 15%. And we haven't even done it justice. So we're now doing all the photo shoots for it, and all of our brand ambassadors on surf trips right now. So we're getting imagery and loading it up on our new website. So yeah, it's
Is
been really fun. Yeah.
fun. So is Sean, does he work with you or is he a brand ambassador? He says you.
That's Sean Smith. Yeah, what's up, Sean? Shout out. Him and Surfline must be best friends, because if you just ever want to see Sean surf, just look at the cam down at 17th Street, and Sean will be on our guru that all day long. Yeah, he's one of our brand ambassadors. He's just a neat guy. It's more of just his positive energy. I mean, he's done a great job of kind of making our brand contagious to others, and so it became just like a natural thing. Where it's like, I want you to ride my boards. Here you go. Here's my leftover sled from last year. Or hey, try out this paddle. And he kind of really earned his way in the ranking there. Yeah,
Great. I love that.
yeah.
So before we go, you gave some good ideas, but any other like objectives that Pop Board Company has, like going forward, addressing these different trends and such?
Yeah, I think for us, it's the goal here, or like what we want to move forward with, is we want to create some line extensions and more like an ecosystem of products to our brand. We don't want to move away from being a board brand. We've always prided ourselves on being an authentic board brand. We weren't anything else but making boards, and we want to stick to that. We have no interest in being a t-shirt and hat company, and there's other guys that do that really, really well. But we did have a moment this summer where we were up top at San Clemente overlooking the beach. We saw about 10,000 beachgoers and about 3 people paddleboarding. And it's not the prime paddleboard spot, but we saw those 3. And luckily, 2 of those 3 were on pop boards, thank God. But my mind kind of kicked around this idea of like, what about the other 10,000 people at the beach? And the one common denominator we saw at that beach was the Tommy Bahama umbrella, the Tommy Bahama beach chair, and the Tommy Bahama cooler. All that sold at a club store. And great, it's awesome stuff. I own it. I'm sure a lot of viewers even own some of this product. But we felt, because of our relationships with retailers and how we're designed to just sell at the retail level, that mass product that's being consumed by the hundreds of thousands at these club stores need to be accessible at the retail level. So what we're doing at Pop is creating an
Good
essential
idea.
where you can get all your little beach goodies and get it at the shop. And so a lot of our designs, like the Royal Hawaiian, are printed on towels and chairs and going onto coolers and umbrellas. We penciled it out. We're not going to make money with this, but the shops will. And it'll give another outlet for beachgoers to kind of poke their head into these really rad shops. I mean, these surf shops and sub shops are just awesome places to hang out. They're really, really neat. It's a great place to get educated on where to go and what to do. And it's pretty much a great starting point in your paddleboard purchasing experience. And whether you buy a board today or maybe months from then, we at least have your beach essentials covered now. So we are designing those ecosystem of products to kind of complement your day at the beach. And that's kind of one of our goals here that we're launching here for the summer. Another thing is kind of really weighing out the trend of foil and whether we can really bring value to that industry or not. So we've always looked at if we can't be the best in it or in that top tier, we don't want to touch it. So it's really neat to see guys like King and some of the guys out there in Infinity really do some really neat things with foil and that whole new movement. So there's one thing our industry doesn't lack, and that's the creativity, and that it's constantly trying to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just kind of taking a seat back and watching it all kind of come together is kind of like what we want to
Yeah.
do if it's really
Although, I mean, you mentioned the pyramid, and it's important to have that all filled in. And so we need people coming in the base to have
yeah,
good quality all
yeah,
around, rigid and ice up boards. And, but I love, yeah, the peak and the new stuff. And, you and I were there early. So we're in the early adopters, and early adopters are notorious for, being those creative ones, pushing the limits, what's next.
right.
So it's been really fun to watch all of them. I probably won't be keeping up with all of these things.
Yeah,
Winging, foiling, winging, I don't know.
it's
Because
one of those with all these trends. It's really important, being the brand captain, that I don't want to kidnap my customer or my clientele from what we're doing. I'm not really interested in like just kind of showing them this new thing that we yet aren't really experts in. So it's our brand. We just want to kind of keep it really simple. And our goal here with our new site, our goal with our marketing is really to simplify the message, not get overwhelming. I think there's a lot of intimidation that takes place sometimes when buying a board, and we want to break those barriers at the retail level or just for the experience of getting into the sport. So we're
yeah,
trying to really wind down the information and kind of give it to you in a very digestible platform. Yeah.
love that, and super needed. And like you said, there's this passion that comes along with this, and people get excited. So I love the
Yeah.
product trajectory too, because people they get very brand passionate, and they want how cool that you could have maybe a matching towel or
Yeah.
umbrella or something because you love your pop board.
Mhm.
So I think that's a great direction too.
Uh,
Good stuff. Good
Thank you.
stuff. Great talking with you, Nick. And Pop Paddleboard's best, or Pop Board Company. I have to say
Yeah.
it correctly.
Oh, it all works. Yeah. It all comes right back to us for sure.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again on marriage and little guy. And it happens to be my baby who's 26 today, my youngest
Oh, really?
birthday today. So I had a baby 26
Well,
years ago today.
I've always thought moms deserve to actually get the birthday. If you looked at it from 1,000 foot above, it's kind of your birthday. The birthday should go to you. You guys should both share it. But
Yeah.
I hope you have something planned, and happy birthday to him and yourself.
Thanks. We do. Being local like you, we're going to go. I've never done a Duffy boat thing. And since it's a beautiful day, and we're going to do that with sushi.
Yeah, you'll have a great time. Sorry for the pause there. Yeah, you're going to be in Newport doing that. Yeah, awesome.
Couple hours. So yes, it should be a fun afternoon. And I consider that a present to myself too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, fantastic to talk with you. Want to remind everybody listening, thank you for listening. This is recorded. It will go immediately to SupConnect's IGTV, and then it will end up on YouTube, both SupConnect's and KT Outside. And you are welcome to do whatever you guys would like with it also. There is also a Facebook group, and that's where we have a chance. We can post some pictures. If you have any questions, if there's follow-up, when new stuff comes out, let me know, Nick, and I'm happy to post it there. We have I don't know, 600-800 people in there who are following these different conversations that we're having. Thank you again. Great to talk with you. And
yeah, thank you so much. I've always looked at you as the godmother of this industry. You're
wow,
amazing job, and we're really lucky to kind of have you in that position where you're at now. Yeah, so thank you so much for just being yourself and doing you. And yeah, hopefully we can get on the water here soon.
Just having fun. It must be a Laguna Beach thing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Southern California, the weather's awful.
I know. Sorry, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you too. So long.